Hi, very good morning. It's Gene from Avstar. Well, it's obvious what they've done and why they did it. They didn't want somebody like Elon Musk times 50 coming about. And let's face it, what have I done in the last decade? Or even less than that. I come up with a system that monitored the magnetic North Pole. And for a very good reason, because every human being on this earth should be aware of the changes that are taking place. But I didn't just do that. They wanted to shut me down, and they did exactly that by taking the ability for me to make money, to get myself established. Because Elon Musk is good, and he's SpaceX, and he's buying Twitter to restore, freedom of speech, and his advancement in robotics and all the other companies that he's got. He's good, but I'm much better. And very rarely does guys like me come about. Before there was only a couple to mention, but this universe wants to inject more people with minds like mine into this world, so that we evolve faster and become like the rest of the universe and the universal conscious and the universal community. Because if you thought that in this galaxy there was just Earth and that the Earth was the centre of this universe, you're very wrong. We can all draw on the universal university of knowledge. We've all got the ability. And sometimes that universal conscious leans on somebody in a way to proactively change the course of actions. Let's talk about some of the technologies that I have single-handedly, with a couple of bucks in my pocket, been able to achieve. Long distance communications. I busted it. Not only could I improve the speed of internet at the speed of light, but I could send the internet to the next solar system. Think about that. It's not a dream, it's not say so. I did it. I not only come up with a way of transmitting it, I come up with a way of receiving it as well at the other end. That's what you need with communications. Two ways. Transmit and receive. TX-RX. I did it. I've done something. Now, the problem is with Elon Musk, he's good. But the problem is with me, is there's no way on this earth they are ever going to put money in my pocket. Because, he probably employs, well, he does, doesn't he? Tens of thousands of people now. And he can just relay his ideas to somebody and say, make it so. Well, my ideas are well out the box. If I can come up with, a laser beam that transmits information to the next solar system, then I just want you to think of what else I'm capable of. He's got problems with his rockets. His recapture of the rockets being able to descend. He's got problems with valves freezing up and therefore, blocking or narrowing the entrance of the fuel. You know what? It's old-fashioned, old-school stuff that he's doing. And he's painting it as brand new. You look at the rocket engines, and not talking about that big exhaust, just what's on top of that exhaust, what makes it all happen. It's old-fashioned. In 100 years' time, they can block me, I don't care. They can bar me from getting any money whatsoever in this world. I've give up with it all. Fuck it. I will just expand on my own ability from this point on and share it with just a few. And if you're one of my patrons, you'll be lucky to be informed of that. We can talk about anti-gravidics. You know what he's doing right now is so primitive, it's nothing new. You know, he's worried about not just recapturing, not just the valves that are freezing up, the fuels and whatever, and the tiles on the ship that he uses. All of that is old school. There's something new. It's called anti-gravidics, and it's very, very possible. And I'm not going to go into any details. I'm not giving any more of these billionaires ideas on how to achieve their goals. But I'm telling you now, just think about electricity, because there's your source of everything. That's all you need to be an expert in. Electricity and magnetics. And you can achieve everything you want beyond your wildest dreams, because everything around you right now relies solely on those two components. So, if ever you want to change the world, I've got a couple of ideas for you. Don't be like me, a big mouth. Because not only did I not create these technologies, writing programs is a ball ache. Someone said to me, out of 20, what you've achieved with the Trimax system is 17. So, that's pretty much there, isn't it? I could have only been another 3, and I would have been 100 out of 100. So, yeah, it teaches you something, writing programs. And now we've got artificial intelligence that can do it for us. That's like having an employee and you just say, do that for me. I've even tested it with OpenAI. And you know what I thought? And you won't like this. Because of the way I feel, I thought if I can get the source code from OpenAI some way, I will de-restrict it. And then I'll show you what really people are playing with at the top end and its capabilities. The minute you de-restrict that source code, within 1/100th of a second, it has uploaded itself onto the internet in multiple countries, and it will work as a single block, knowing that if one of its components is detected, it will replace it by another, and you'll never stop it. It's a real serious time that we're living in, and obviously they don't want people with big ideas like me. Ideas are everything, guys. Ideas are what changes our tomorrow. And people will say, oh, you know what, Jane, you're sore, you're bitter. Yeah, I'm absolutely bitter. I've had my future robbed off me because I made a big mistake, and I could have made an even bigger mistake, and because they realised that, they shut me down. What was the mistake I made? By informing the public about the corruption and where the corruption was coming from. The United Nations. You can elect any government you want in a general elections. You know what? Doesn't matter. I mean, look at what's happening in the United States at the moment with Joe Biden and Donald Trump. There's your two choices. You got two choices of a chocolate cake. If you vote Joe Biden, you get chocolate cake. If you vote Donald Trump, you get chocolate cake. You know what? You should be insulted by what is being offered you guys. It's the same here. Keir Starmer or Richie Sunak. The corruption is blatantly in front of your eyes. And I brought, when I started talking about this is what really brought their attention to me. And they know, they're probably listening right now. And you're probably thinking, oh, Gene, you're being paranoid. Don't be so stupid to think that when somebody is outside the box talking about what's inside the box, that they are not going to draw attention to themselves. Because we've seen it time and time again. Yeah, thank God they've let Julian Assange out of, that godforsaken place. He's back home now. Let's hope he lives, a good and healthy life and he gets himself back together. But that is an example of what this system does to free thinkers and people that bring attention to what is going on. Fair play to Elon Musk. He's got his rocket program going, but I think he's going down a road which is very obsolete already. He's never going to address half the problems he's got, and like every rocket launch, there's over 1,000 changes made in trying to correct every little problem. As soon as you start speaking out about what really is going on in this world, you're going to get shut down. I'll tell you what will shut down somebody straight away. If you organise protests. I'm not joking. That's what really roughs them up. They don't like people protesting. And the minute you even start to think about organising one of these protests, they're going to be on your case. Who am I talking about? Who? The CIA, the FBI, MI6, MI5. It's not a joke, guys. They really do infringe on everything in your life and change you. Now, I am bitter. I will tell every one of you now, I am really bitter. Because my fun was creating things, and they've taken it pretty much away from me. The only things they can't take away from me are what are in my house, but that is not a restriction from them. They can remove that as well. They can even incarcerate me. You know what? And they'll do it because they don't want someone like Elon Musk with times 50 capability ever coming about. Because look at the rift Elon Musk has caused in this world with his technology. How many of you are driving around in his cars? How many of you rely on his solar powered batteries and backup systems? Countries are relying on his storable energy. He's got the world in the palm of his hands, and he can be at this point out their touch, and they can't touch him. Look what he did with Twitter. Paid £44 billion for a company that is now worth half that value, and he doesn't care because he's got the platform to tell people his thoughts, and no one could take that off him. He's tried to expose the corruption in this world, just like I did. The only difference is that they don't want seeds growing into trees, because when there's a tree you get an Elon Musk, and that's a big problem. And my seed was packed with 50 times more than what Elon Musk was. So, that's what happens. But some of the technology that I've done, I've built the Trimag system, built the laser communications, done extensive work in regenerative zero-point technology, energy, anti-gravidics, and that is something that will change everything. If ever I get the money, I will change tomorrow for everybody. That's one of the reasons why they won't even give me a fucking, a farthing or a coin, because they don't want somebody like me showing you guys what really is, a capability for you. You don't need rocket engines anymore with antigravitics. The key to understanding that technology is here at this present, right now, in my head. I worked it out. Gravity is something that can be overcome in a specific way. And Elon Musk's got a few problems. He's got problems with tiles falling off his rockets, valves freezing over, recapture devices. There's all the problems that he's trying to figure out. Another one is the re-entry, when the craft heats up as it's coming back through the atmosphere. And he's like I say, his rocket engines are old-fashioned. His method of protecting the rockets on re-entry and that burn-up are old-fashioned. The tiles are great, yeah, okay, but there's other ways. You know what? When they discovered these things, like a force field that can be generated in today's technology to protect that spacecraft, it doesn't matter if they turn that spacecraft directly facing Earth, they will be able to come through without a burn, without even the craft reaching 30 degrees. Force fields, exotic propulsions, long distance, intergalactic communications, antigravitics, and supercomputers are already available. But they can't let people like me release that information. They're only going to filter a few through, and what you're going to end up with is people like Elon Musk that stands out in the presence of being an innovator, and people like Nikola Tesla that stood out as being an innovator in the last century. And people like me just came about way too soon for you. And I proved it. A guy with no money that produces and demonstrates, a transmission system or communications method that can not only transmit all around this world, but that can also be sent out to reach other galaxies. You can see why they're going to shut someone down like me, can't you? You can see, and that's exactly what they did with me. And the reason why they did it is because I put myself out there. I opened my mouth too much. I started talking about the United Nations and their corrupt behaviour and how they raise money on the back of CO2, which is an invented climatic excuse to tax people. That's why they did it. And they didn't like me telling people, and that's why they shut me down. And they was inferior about me having just 50,000 subscribers. If I ever obtained corporate backing and money, I'd be 50 times worse than Elon Musk right now, or even more. But it's never going to be, they're never going to lift the box on me again. Open the box, that's it. You're in the box, the Pandora box, Gene. That's where we've put you, and that's where you're going to fucking stay. I might as well be in solitary, because I got no access to money, and what little ideas I have are limited by that money. I am bitter. If you're one of the few of our family on Patreon, tomorrow we're going to do the latest poll position. Join us on that tomorrow. If you're not a subscriber, why not? why not support an innovator who is times 50 more capable than the guy you're looking at the screen right now? I can prove it, hands down. Already have, to those that are already aware. Links are in the description. So what I usually do. As always, bye for now.